The Supreme Court now off for the summer, but not before some seismic rulings the past week on topics including abortion, New York concealed carry gun laws, and the environment, one of the latest. Joining me now to talk about this last one is DEC Commissioner Basil Seggos. Commissioner, thanks for joining us, and happy 52nd birthday to the DEC, July 1, 1970, right?
That's right. I've been here since the beginning.
No, I know you haven't. So let's go back to that SCOTUS decision, because that has just sent shockwaves through the environmental community. I'm guessing you weren't surprised by the ruling in West Virginia versus the EPA, essentially limiting the EPA's power to fight climate change. How big a blow is this ruling to environmental efforts like the ones New York has led the way on?
Well, listen, there's no two ways about it. This is a devastating blow for the environment nationwide. It's the Supreme Court sharply curtailing the EPA's ability to regulate greenhouse gas emissions in the middle of a climate crisis, and the timing could not have been worse. New York is in a special place, as are many other states, in that we have enacted our own very stringent climate and clean energy and environmental rules and laws. So, large part, we won't be impacted by the decision itself, but for the fact that now the EPA is going to be at least out of the mix for the short term, and that puts the burden all on New York State and other states that are stepping up.
We know in environmental terms, you know, with this ruling, obviously air and air quality doesn't really know boundaries.
And look, this is a global crisis. We can't do it all here in New York. We can certainly set the tone. We can set the example, which I believe we're doing. But we need the federal government to do something that's national, right? National in nature, and ultimately to have the federal government working with other nations to fix this problem. To have it now shifted to the states is absurd, and it puts the whole nation, it puts our economy, our long-term economy, our resiliency in significant question.
How well does the EPA and the DEC work together on various issues, on clean air, clean water initiatives?
Well, it typically depends upon who is in the White House, but in this instance right now, we work very well with the EPA. I have a close relationship with the administrator. It's like that really across the board with the commissioners at the state level, now having counterparts at the federal level that are of like mind. So we work very well together. Ultimately, we will be working with them, trying to find a way to fix this issue. What
else do you worry the current Supreme Court could roll back in terms of the environment? Any other cases that you see that could come up that could roll things back more?
No doubt about it. Some of the thinking that went into this decision clearly signals an interest at the Supreme Court's level to further regulate and or diminish the EPA's authority. And this decision is big and broad. Frankly, it's not just about climate. If you read it closely enough, and we are reading it closely, granted it's only a day old and it's 89 pages, there are implications well beyond just climate. Clean water. There are implications for the CDC, the FDA, any federal agency that makes an important decision. So I think we will feel the reverberations of this nationally for some time.
Some people may say, I don't really know what the EPA does, what the DEC does. Give me one or two things that may be most impactful that you've seen from the DEC in New York State when it comes to climate change, the environment.
Great question. New York was one of the first states to step up and enact a so-called net zero law to reduce our emissions by 2050 in a way to keep ahead of what we see as the disastrous effects of too much carbon in the atmosphere. We did that before the federal government has stepped up. We're one of a handful of states that have done that. And, you know, we need the federal government to do the same thing. We need the federal government to be able to regulate this national issue. And now New York is largely on its own with a few other states.
Got about 30 seconds left. What's something that you would tell people at home that are watching that they maybe can do to help out with this in the wake of the SCOTUS decision?
Well, listen, we have a few hours left in our comment period for our climate action plan, our draft plan. So if viewers want to log on to climate.ny.gov and try to comment on that, please do. Of course, don't give up. This is a long-term fight. We'll be at this for years. We're going to promulgate laws and regulations economy-wide for years to come. Public will have a chance to weigh in on that. But, you know, fundamentally, go to the polls and vote. When you have the chance to vote, vote for the environment, because it really ends up being a vote for our existence.
He's the DEC Commissioner, Basil Seggos. Basil, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Happy 4th of July to you and all your viewers.
Thank you. You too.